The Liberty Air 2 Pros are finally out. These earbuds from Soundcore provide us a great sound experience, but not only that, the ability of customizing the sound with them for our own ears, and also to customize the ANC, depending if you're indoors and outdoors, with some obviously functionalities that allow us to actually get the right level of ANC for the environment that we're in. This is TK, and this is the Soundcore Liberty Air 2 Pros. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So there we have it, the brand new Liberty Air 2 Pros made by Soundcore, which is obviously by Anker. We have a HearID ANC, the PureNote technology for the drivers that we have now, up to 26 hours of playtime, and of course we now support wireless charging here as well as wire charging, both obviously fast charging. We have a button here that's present on the right side that gives us the ability of resetting it, and of course the earbuds are themselves inserted in here. The packaging is pretty straightforward. They include additional tips to be able to get the fit just right so that it works perfectly with you. And of course, last but not least, is USB Type-C to USB Type-A to charge them via wired. Although any wireless charger using Qi technology, or even if you have a Samsung device that uses reverse wireless charging, will be able to charge these guys for you. And of course, you'll be able to have them with you all the time. When it comes down to the main features, we have targeted active noise cancellation. We'll check that out when we get into the app. The PureNote technology for sublime sound, which is the new drivers that we're using here. The HearID personalized sound, which enables us to actually get the perfect hearing experience out of these headphones for our ears. Last but not least, clear calls with 6 noise cancelling mics. We'll talk about those as well. And as far as the actual playtime, it's up to 7 hours per charge, but up to 26 hours with a fully charged case and earbuds. Now, of course, pairing these is pretty simple. First time you open them up, it's pretty simple. You just go into the Bluetooth settings and you connect them, and they work pretty straightforward. There is an app that's directly available on the Google Play Store. You can download them. And as you can see here, I have it connected to both my Liberty 2 Pros as well as the Liberty Air 2 Pros. Both of them will work perfectly fine. And once you have them connected, you give it a second and it'll actually connect over and give you all of the additional options. And as far as customizing the experience here, it's pretty straightforward. First time you open up the actual case, it's going to try to pair to the nearest device. Go into your Bluetooth settings, customize them, or actually connect them there, and you're pretty much set. You do need to download the application directly from either the Google Play Store or from the Apple App Store. Within the app, you can see the battery level on each earbud. You can also see the active noise cancellation feature, and we'll get into that in a second. The HearID and the equalizer to be able to customize the sound experience here to your ears. And of course, control. Those are the 3 main options that we have in here. If we jump into the HearID, there's a way of customizing it by going in there and actually customizing the portfolio of your ear. They play a set of sounds so that you're actually able to see which ones you hear and which ones you don't. And once you have that configured, you'll be able to actually use that as the customized EQ configuration, and it helps have much better audio performance out of these headphones. Now, if you choose not to use it, you can definitely go with default or custom, and of course, it just works pretty straightforward from there. Now, when we go back home and go under the active noise cancellation, I mentioned to you guys targeted active noise cancellation. There's 3 different modes. There's noise cancellation, transparency mode, and normal. Transport, indoor, outdoor, and custom. Those are the different levels. So by default, when you have active noise cancellation, it has automatically set to transport. You can customize it to go indoors when there's more vocal conversation, so that it tries to reduce the sound there. And of course, outdoors when there's more basically street noise. So here it reduces ambient sound on top of quieter city spaces. Last but not least is the ability of customizing this to your own preferences by means if it doesn't seem to work quite well for the area you're in, you're able to tune it to work for the environment that you're in. Last but not least, of course, we have the ability of using transparency mode, full transparent, and or vocal mode, meaning focusing on audio specifically for vocals. And last, of course, you could just turn off active noise cancellation and it just goes back to normal. For me, I like to keep it under transport mode, seems to work the best. And last but not least is the customizations to the controls. Now, there's 2 sets of earbuds here, obviously, and each one of them can be customized slightly differently. Now, the left by default, if you double tap on that, it's going to go next. You are able to go in there and customize that experience to change it to whatever you'd like. I find that obviously the next song is obviously going to work best. Play and pause on the right ear, as well as answer and hang up, works the exact same way. The other option is the ability of holding it for 2 seconds to be able to activate or turn on special features. For me right now, on the left ear tip, I'm actually having it set up to work to initiate the Google Assistant for me. And of course, the right ear changes between right there, noise cancellation and normal, and it does not jump into the other option. You are able to select the other option if you want, but personally, you can actually have it just jump between transparent mode and noise cancellation as opposed to just having it as normal. And after all of that is done, you're pretty much set. The audio experience, once you do the HearID, works great with any of the music players. Personally, I like to use Tidal as it plays higher quality audio. And of course, we get to enjoy our content and the music at a much higher quality. Now, I'm pretty sure you guys are wondering, how do these microphones or the microphones on the Liberty Air 2 Pros sound? We're going to do a couple of tests. We're going to do an indoor and an outdoor test, recording a video with my Z Fold 2, since it actually records audio from the Bluetooth headphones. So that should be a good example of how does audio sound like, again, indoors and outdoors. Okay, so for a quick test of how the audio sounds like from these headphones, I'm actually using my Galaxy device outdoors, and of course, we're connected over Bluetooth. There's some noise around us, and of course, there's just some ambient sound. So this should be a pretty good example. Actually, there's some construction being done not that long or not that far from here. So this should be a pretty good example of how the audio sounds like from them for phone calls, obviously, or just for normal voice recording. Now we're indoors, and of course, same configuration. Noise cancellation is off, and of course, we're using the microphones with my Galaxy Z Fold 2 just to be able to record audio in a video. So this should be, again, a good example of how does it sound indoors whenever you're not outdoors. I did review the outdoor clip, and it seemed like for some reason it actually didn't pick up any of the construction, which was really nice, but it did pick up the birds that were much closer to me. So again, pretty good, not bad for the Liberty Air 2 Pro. Now, when it comes to the fit itself, it's actually pretty simple. When you put one ear in, you put the other. They do have in-ear detection, which means if you're listening to audio, they're going to actually know, and they'll obviously play back the audio. If you take them out, it'll pause, and again, same vice versa. This is just another sample again of how does the Liberty Air 2 Pro sound whenever you're making phone calls or video calls from a phone. The Z Fold 2 has a really nice feature of being able to record audio over Bluetooth, and this again is a good example. As far as the sound portfolio and how do they sound overall, I feel like they have a very nice, well-balanced sound experience. The overall mids and lows are definitely not overpronounced, meaning you're not going to get drowned out with bass and that type of an experience. Once I went and customized the hearing experience, the audio overall became much better. So I do recommend you going through that and not just using the standard default option. I don't think it's right that most headphones in the market now give us one profile that we're supposed to live with. So if there's no app that supports it, you don't have any options to be able to customize it. And here with the Liberty Air 2 Pros, we definitely have that with the Soundcore app. The next thing we're going to also talk about is distance. This actually worked quite well for me. I was able to go almost about 30 feet with a direct line of sight when I'm using them just to listen to music. As far as actually when you start putting obstacles, I would say about 15 to 20 feet is reasonable. I was able to put about 2 walls here in the office where I left my phone on my desk and I walked out, which is one of the things that I always appreciate about Barrett headphones. The ability of having a solid connection to my smartphone, and of course giving us the ability of enjoying audio being either just for listening or for making phone calls. And for that, it actually worked quite well. On the phone calls that I was using before, it actually did a decent job of isolating my audio, and the microphones provided really good active noise cancellation to allow me to basically focus on the call itself. I like the functions that we have in here, from the customization to the audio experience to your ears. For the most part, we generally have earbuds that come out that just have one profile that fits everybody. Where the Liberty Air 2 Pros are trying to do here is they're trying to give us a more customized experience for our own listening experience. So that's really why I feel like the HearID kind of works great. The active noise cancellation customization, I feel like they're really nice and a really good addition here. And of course, the ability of going in that custom option adds more features there. Battery life is absolutely fantastic. Charging them wirelessly or even via wire is also very fast, and that is one of the main benefits here. Now, how does the Liberty Air 2 Pros compare to the Liberty 2 Pros that have been out from Soundcore for quite some time? I think both of them sound very nice, but I feel like the way these fit in our ears, the way they actually sit in our ears, they actually provide us a much better sound experience. I feel like they have a better fit for me, even though we have multiple options to be able to set them. The Liberty Air 2 Pros are sitting and dangling down, so there's not really any kind of reinforcement into the back of the ear. Where we start looking at the Liberty 2 Pros, they actually have a much better positioning there, and it actually sits much nicer. Overall, both are going to give us great sound experience. Both are going to give us a long battery life, and both charge very nicely, both via wire or wirelessly. So it really ends up being more of a personal choice. Let's go ahead and summarize the main features here. We have up to 4 different colors that are available for us to be able to pick from. We have targeted active noise cancellation to be able to customize the experience here by basically transport, indoor, outdoor. We have different options. It's also with the transparency mode to be able to have it focus specifically on vocals if you're having a conversation. And then last but not least is the ability of customizing our entire experience with the HearID option. IPX4 for waterproofing, basically, so in case you want to go out and run and do an exercise, you're going to be fine. Up to 21 hours of playback with the full charge case if you have active noise cancellation on, and up to 26 hours with active noise cancellations off. One thing I would definitely say here is the ability of charging them wirelessly or via wire is definitely very appreciated, and they give us a really good way of customizing the entire experience here. The app is easy to use, easy to set up, and of course, this is going to give us a great experience for any type of listening experience that you're looking for. I want to say thank you very much to Soundcore for providing me this sample to be able to check out and share with you guys my opinions of the Liberty Air 2 Pros. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and of course, I'll see you guys in the next video.